Hey guys, tonight we're going to talk about a kind of school that would make even your toughest high school football coach look like a gentle kindergarten teacher. We're heading back, way back to ancient Sparta, a place that wasn't just a city-state, it was a living, breathing military camp. And if you think your school had a brutal dress code or tough teachers, just wait until you hear about this. This wasn't about grades or prom. It was about survival, discipline, and becoming a perfect human weapon. And let me tell you, you probably wouldn't survive past, your 7th birthday without a permanent twitch. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And seriously, if you're listening to this, drop your location and what time it is for you in the comments below. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You are born into a world of stark, uncompromising efficiency, a place where everything, every single thing, is geared towards the military might of the state. Imagine a town, not unlike a sprawling, dusty military base in, say, Fort Hood, Texas, but instead of modern barracks, you see austere stone dwellings, communal mess halls, and training grounds where young men constantly drill. The air is thick with the scent of sweat, olive oil, and the ever-present subtle tang of iron from sharpened spears. This is Sparta, and your life, from the very first breath, is not your own. From the moment you arrive in this harsh world, even before you can truly understand what's happening, you face your first, most terrifying judgment. This isn't about your cute baby coos or your adorable little feet. This is about your very right to exist. You are brought, a tiny, squirming bundle, before a council of elders, severe men with long white beards and unyielding eyes. They examine you meticulously, dispassionately. They are looking for any sign of weakness, any physical imperfection, any hint that you might not grow into a strong, capable warrior. This isn't some quaint tradition. This is a popular historical fact. Spartan babies faced a rigorous examination at birth, a brutal assessment of their physical fitness. If you weren't deemed perfect, well, your fate was sealed. Your parents, stoic and unyielding as all Spartans are taught to be, present you without a flicker of overt emotion. Inside, they might be praying, hoping, but outside, they are simply performing their duty to the state. The elder's gaze lingers on your tiny limbs, your fragile chest, your new face. Every whimper, every cough, seems to be amplified in the heavy silence. The tension in the room is palpable, thick and suffocating. If you are deemed strong and well-formed, a suitable future warrior, you are allowed to live. Your parents take you back, and you begin a childhood, however brief, within the confines of your family home. You are nursed by your mother, who, like all Spartan mothers, is known for her stern discipline and her stories of heroic deeds. She encourages strength, discourages tears, and teaches you from your earliest days that your ultimate purpose is to serve Sparta. But if you are deemed puny or ill-favored, a child who would grow up to be a burden on the state, your fate is grim. You are taken to the apothete, a chasm at the foot of Mount Taygetus. This isn't a place for burial. It's a place of exposure, of abandonment. You wouldn't be alone in this grim end. Countless other Spartan infants, deemed unfit, met the same fate. This unique detail of infant exposure for physical imperfections is one of the most chilling aspects of Spartan society, truly highlighting their brutal dedication to military fitness. It's like a quality control check, but for human beings, and with zero tolerance for defects. Historians still debate the exact nature and frequency of infant exposure in Sparta. with some arguing it was a harsh reality, while others suggest it might have been less common than portrayed by later sources. You, however, are deemed fit. You survive the first judgment. Your early childhood, up to the age of 7, is spent in the Spartan home. It's a stark environment, devoid of luxury. Your clothes are minimal, your diet simple. You are taught basic obedience, respect for elders, and the absolute primacy of the state. Your mother, rather than coddling you, encourages physical toughness, emotional stoicism, and a disdain for material comforts. You learn to share, to endure discomfort, and to never complain. This period, while seemingly domestic, is merely the gentle prelude to the brutal reality that awaits you. You play with other Spartan children, boys and girls, in the dusty courtyards. Your games are rough, mimicking the drills of the older boys, mock wrestling, running races, games of capture that demand cunning and agility. Even in play, the emphasis is on physical prowess, endurance, and strategic thinking. There are no dolls, no soft toys, no frivolous amusements. Every activity, whether intentional or not, serves to prepare you for the life of a warrior. The air in Sparta is always alive with the sounds of training. You hear the rhythmic shouts of drill sergeants, the sharp crack of whips on bare skin, the grunts of exertion from the agoge, the state-run training system for boys. You see the older boys, lean and hardened, running through the streets, their bodies glistening with sweat. You watch them with a mix of awe and dread, knowing that in just a few short years you will join their ranks. That day, your 7th birthday, looms like a dark, inevitable cloud on the horizon. Your parents do not prepare you with comforting words or tearful goodbyes. They prepare you with quiet discipline, with stories of Spartan heroes, with reminders of your duty. They teach you to control your emotions, to never show fear or weakness. This is not because they don't love you, but because in Sparta, the state demands absolute loyalty, absolute stoicism. Personal affection must be subsumed by civic duty. It's a tough love, taken to an extreme. As your 7th birthday approaches, the tension in your small home becomes palpable. You know what is coming. Every Spartan boy, at the age of 7, leaves his family to enter the agoge. This isn't just a school, it's a military academy, a brutal crucible designed to forge boys into the most formidable warriors in the ancient world. You will not see your family again, not truly, for many years. You will be raised by the state, for the state. The morning of your 7th birthday dawns, cold and clear. There are no celebrations, no gifts, no cake. Instead, a grim procession awaits. Your father, his face stern but his hand firm on your shoulder, leads you to the designated assembly point. Other boys, some barely older than you, some even younger, stand silently with their fathers, their faces a mixture of apprehension and of forced bravery. Mothers stand at a distance, their gazes fixed, unwavering. There are no tears, no dramatic farewells. Such displays of emotion are forbidden, a sign of weakness. You feel a profound sense of fear, a raw animal terror that threatens to overwhelm you. You cling to your father's hand, your small fingers digging into his calloused palm. You look back at your mother, her face unreadable, a pillar of Spartan discipline. You try to memorize her features, the way the sunlight catches in her hair, the simple curve of her mouth, knowing that this might be the last time you see her as your mother, rather than as a symbol of the Spartan woman. A group of older boys, already lean and hardened by the agoge, stand nearby, their eyes cold and assessing. They are the paidonomos, the officials responsible for overseeing your training, and they look less like teachers and more like prison wardens. Their faces betray no emotion, only grim efficiency. Then a harsh, guttural command echoes through the assembly ground. Form ranks, boys. Your father releases your hand. You stand there, a small, vulnerable figure, amidst the other boys. The fear is immense, but a tiny spark of something else ignites within you. A fledgling sense of duty, of belonging to something larger than yourself, however terrifying that something may be. You are a Spartan, and your journey has just begun. You take your place in the rudimentary line, shoulder to shoulder with other boys, all equally small, equally terrified. The air is cold, the ground hard beneath your bare feet. You look ahead at the grim faces of the Paidonomos, at the distant, imposing barracks that will be your new home. This is not like any school your modern sensibilities could conceive. There are no comfortable classrooms, no friendly teachers, no after-school clubs. This is the agoge, and it is designed to strip you of your childhood, to burn away all weakness, and to forge you into a weapon for Sparta. And as you take that first, hesitant step forward, leaving behind the last vestiges of your innocent life, you realize just how truly brutal that journey is going to be. The world outside your window is a tapestry of whispered secrets and veiled threats. You've settled into the rhythm of your new life as a scribe, the tedious work of copying texts, a perfect cover for your true purpose. The scent of parchment and ink has become as familiar as the gnawing anxiety in your gut. Your senses are constantly heightened, tuned to the subtle currents of the city. Every cough, every distant shout, every creak of a wagon wheel in the street below is now filtered through the lens of a potential clue, a possible danger. Your days in the scriptorium are a masterclass in controlled anonymity. You hunch over your desk, quills scratching diligently, outwardly absorbed in the intricate curves of Greek script. But inwardly, your mind is a churning vortex of observation. Old Theophanes, the grumbling scribe, continues his litany of complaints about the ink quality. But you've noticed he always leaves precisely at the third bell, no matter what. And young Lysander, the aspiring poet, spends an inordinate amount of time gazing out the window at the spice market, not just for inspiration, but, you suspect, for someone specific. You don't have direct proof, no smoking quill, but the patterns are starting to emerge. Katerina had emphasized the importance of blending, of becoming utterly forgettable. This wasn't about heroic feats or dramatic chases. It was about the slow, painstaking accumulation of data, the patient weaving of a web of information. You learn to walk with a slight limp that isn't severe enough to draw pity, but just enough to make you less physically memorable. You adopt a quiet, unassuming demeanor, rarely initiating conversation, but always ready to offer a polite, non-committal response when spoken to. It's a delicate dance, this art of being present, yet invisible. The paranoia, however, is a relentless companion. Every unfamiliar face in the marketplace seems to linger a moment too long. Every shadowed doorway holds a potential threat. You find yourself dissecting every casual glance, every fleeting smile, wondering if it's genuine or a calculated move by someone else in this silent war. Remember that feeling when you just know someone is watching you. Even if you can't see them, multiply that by 1,000, and you're getting close to your daily reality. You're constantly checking your reflection in puddles, ensuring your new identity holds, that no telltale signs of your true self accidentally slip through. One afternoon, a new commission arrives at the scriptorium, a massive philosophical treatise, dense with complex arguments. You are assigned a particularly challenging section. As you meticulously copy the intricate Greek, your eyes scan for anything out of place. And there it is, subtle, almost imperceptible, a series of tiny, almost microscopic dots etched into the parchment margin, forming an unusual pattern next to specific words. It's not a stain, not a flaw in the paper. It's too deliberate, too precise. Your heart gives a jolt. This isn't part of the text. This is a message. You recall Katerina's fleeting mention of microdots, not the modern kind, of course, but tiny, hand-drawn symbols, or alterations so small they could be mistaken for imperfections. This unique historical detail speaks to the Byzantines' ingenuity in clandestine communication, relying on keen eyesight and precise handiwork, rather than complex technology. You carefully memorize the pattern, the words it accompanies, without betraying any hint of your discovery. Your hand continues to move, copying the text, seemingly oblivious. That evening, under the dim light of your lamp, you try to decipher the pattern. It's too complex for a simple substitution cipher. You remember a casual comment Katerina made during one of your initial debriefings. Sometimes, the message isn't in what you see, but in what you don't see. You re-examine the dots, holding the parchment up to the light, then turning it, looking for any other anomalies. Nothing. Frustration begins to set in. You understand the stakes of missing something vital. A single misinterpreted message could lead to a catastrophic failure, or worse, your own exposure. Academics still debate whether the general populace truly understood the pervasive nature of the agents in Rebus, or if they were largely perceived as isolated figures of authority, rather than a vast, interconnected web. The anxiety tightens its grip, twisting your stomach into knots. You spend hours meticulously drawing the pattern, trying different rotations, different interpretations. You even try overlaying it onto a map of the city you've been memorizing. Nothing yields a clear meaning. You feel a pang of self-doubt. Are you truly cut out for this? Are you too slow, too unperceptive? The pressure to perform, to justify your selection, is immense. Suddenly, a memory flashes in your mind. Katerina had once shown you a demonstration, almost as an aside, of how specific patterns of dust on a windowsill, visible only at certain angles, could convey a simple signal. It wasn't about the dust itself, but the absence of dust in specific spots, revealing the underlying surface. What if this wasn't about the dots, but the spaces between them? You grab a fresh piece of parchment and, using a tiny, almost invisible lead pencil, you carefully mark out the blank spaces between the dots, the white areas that form their own pattern. Slowly, painstakingly, as you connect these negative spaces, a crude outline begins to emerge. It's a stylized depiction of the Great Palace, specifically the Chrysotriklinos, the Golden Dining Hall, where the emperor often held important meetings. Your breath catches in your throat. This isn't just a place, it's a specific, highly secure location. And around the outline of the Chrysotriklinos, you notice a series of even tinier, almost microscopic scratches, forming what looks like a rudimentary sequence of numbers. This is a time, the third hour after sunrise, a time when high-level imperial councils were often held. A shiver runs down your spine. This isn't just information, it's a warning, a potential threat targeting the highest echelons of the empire, perhaps even the emperor himself. The message, hidden in plain sight, was designed to be overlooked by anyone not specifically trained to look for its inverse. This is the kind of intelligence that could save lives or expose a vast conspiracy. Your heart pounds, a frantic drum in your chest. You need to get this information to Katerina, and quickly. But how your instructions are clear, you are not to make contact unless specifically instructed, or in an emergency. This certainly feels like an emergency. But how do you verify it without breaking protocol and potentially exposing yourself? The rigid rules of engagement are designed to protect the network, but they also create agonizing dilemmas. You realize you must choose your moment carefully. You cannot simply walk up to Katerina's known drop point. You must make it seem accidental, a chance encounter that could be dismissed as nothing more. This requires a level of improvisation that your training hasn't fully prepared you for, and the anxiety of potential misstep is crushing. For the next few days, you continue your routine, but with an added layer of hypervigilance, you subtly alter your daily walking route, adding detours that might, by chance, lead you past one of the prearranged emergency contact points Katerina had vaguely indicated. These were never explicit addresses, but rather specific public landmarks, a unique statue in a quiet square, a particular mosaic in a less trafficked bathhouse, a certain fountain known for its unusually strong flow. The stress is immense. You find yourself losing your appetite. Your sleep even more fragmented than usual. Every person you pass on the street becomes a suspect, every ordinary sound a potential signal. You even start to develop a nervous habit, unconsciously tapping your fingers against your thigh in a rhythmic pattern, a futile attempt to release some of the pent-up tension. It's a subtle manifestation of the psychological toll this life takes. Finally, after 3 agonizing days, your opportunity arises. You are walking past the baths of Zeuxippus, a grand public bathhouse, now mostly in ruins, but still a popular spot for informal gatherings. Katerina had mentioned that a specific, partially collapsed archway within the ruins was one such emergency point. As you casually stroll by, affecting an air of detached observation, you see her. She's disguised as a common flower seller, her face partially obscured by a wide-brimmed straw hat. She's haggling loudly with a customer over the price of roses, her voice surprisingly boisterous. You approach slowly, feigning interest in the flowers. Your heart is pounding, but you force yourself to remain calm, to control your breathing. You pick up a single white rose, its petals soft against your fingertips. How much for this one? Vendor, you ask, your voice deliberately flat, devoid of any discernible emotion. Katerina, still engaged with her customer, doesn't look at you directly. Her reply is a string of complaints about the rising cost of living, subtly woven with instructions. This rose, young man, is a rarity, much like genuine honesty in these trying times. I suggest you meet me by the cistern, near the old aqueduct, just as the evening call to prayer begins. Don't be late, and don't bring any unwanted attention. The anxiety that has been building up for days now finds an outlet in a sudden, almost overwhelming surge of adrenaline. You have your meeting. You have your chance. You pay for the rose, offering a polite thank you, and walk away. Your stride carefully measured, your expression bland. Inside, your mind races. The cistern near the old aqueduct, a dark, secluded spot, perfect for a clandestine meeting. That evening, as the mournful sound of the evening call to prayer echoes across the city, you make your way to the designated meeting spot. The air is cool, heavy with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The towering stone arches of the aqueduct loom against the twilight sky, casting long, menacing shadows. The cistern itself is a gaping maw in the earth, its depths hidden by the encroaching darkness. It's a place that feels ancient, forgotten, perfectly suited for the exchange of secrets. Katerina is already there, a silent silhouette against the crumbling stone. She's no longer disguised as a flower seller. Tonight, she's simply a shadow, part of the encroaching gloom. She gestures for you to follow her deeper into the ruins, into a narrow passage that leads to a small, secluded chamber within the aqueduct's foundations. The air here is damp and still. The only sound, the faint drip of water echoing from the unseen depths of the cistern. Speak, she commands, her voice a low murmur that seems to absorb into the stones. Her face is barely visible in the faint light, filtering from the entrance, but you can feel her piercing gaze. You recount your discovery, detailing the hidden microdots, the negative pattern, the outline of the chrysotriclinos, and the precise time. You explain your method of deciphering it, the flash of insight about looking at the inverse. As you speak, you watch Katerina's face for any reaction, any sign that you've made a mistake, that you're wrong. But her expression remains unreadable, a mask of controlled neutrality. When you finish, the silence stretches, heavy and pregnant with unspoken significance. She simply nods, a small, almost imperceptible movement. "You did well," she says, her voice still quiet, but with a hint of something that might be approval. "Very well. Your observation skills are developing." The relief that washes over you is profound, an almost dizzying wave that leaves you momentarily weak-kneed. You've passed the test, you've proven your worth, but the relief is quickly replaced by a new wave of anxiety. This information, this warning, is serious. What will happen now? Katerina then gives you new instructions. This information is critical. It suggests a high-level infiltration, perhaps even a plot against the emperor himself. Your role now shifts. You will continue as a scribe, but you will also become my eyes and ears within the great palace. Your blood runs cold. The great palace, the very heart of the empire, a place teeming with imperial guards, suspicious courtiers, and the constant threat of discovery. The chrysotriclinos itself is one of the most heavily guarded chambers. This isn't just about observing whispers in a scriptorium. This is about walking into the lion's den. You will be given a new assignment within the palace archives. Katerina continues, oblivious to your inner turmoil. It will provide you with access to certain restricted areas. Your objective: identify anyone who displays unusual interest in the chrysotriclinos, or who seeks information about the emperor's schedule, particularly regarding meetings in that hall. Look for any new faces among the palace staff, any sudden changes in routines. Be a ghost, move without a trace, see everything, say nothing. The thought of navigating the complex, highly stratified world of the imperial court sends a fresh wave of fear through you. The palace is a viper's nest of intrigue, a place where rival factions constantly vie for power, where a single misstep can mean disgrace or death. How could an unassuming scribe, a mere copyist, possibly hope to uncover a plot within such an environment? You're not a warrior, not a master of disguise in the theatrical sense. You're a quiet observer. You will be contacted by a new intermediary within the palace. Katerina explains, her voice dropping to an even lower whisper. Their name is Leo. They will appear to be a minor functionary, perhaps a steward or a chamberlain. They will identify themselves by asking you a seemingly innocuous question about the history of the great palace. Specifically, do the echoes of the past truly whisper in these stones? Your response will be, only to those who listen with their hearts, not their ears. You commit the phrase to memory, the words echoing ominously in the damp silence. You are entering a different kind of battlefield now, Katerina concludes, her voice firm. The stakes are higher, the risks immeasurable, but the empire depends on agents like you. Do not fail. She then turns and, without another word, melts back into the shadows of the aqueduct ruins, leaving you alone in the damp, echoing chamber. The silence that follows is deafening, punctuated only by the faint drip of water. You are left with the chilling weight of your new mission, the enormity of what you are now expected to do. You, a simple scribe, are now tasked with preventing a potential assassination or coup in the heart of the Byzantine Empire. The anxiety is no longer a hum. It's a roaring tempest within you. You are about to step into the most dangerous game of all. You make your way back through the deserted streets of Constantinople. The rose Katerina had sold you still clutched in your hand. Its petals feel soft, delicate, almost mocking in their fragility compared to the brutal reality of your new mission. The city, once a place of comfort and familiarity, now feels like a vast, hostile entity. Its ancient stones silently watching your every move. You are truly alone in this. The sharp crack of the whip, the biting cold of the pre-dawn air, the relentless ache in your belly. These are the new sensations that define your existence. You are no longer merely a 7-year-old boy. You are a PAIDS, a junior trainee in the agoge, Sparta's brutal, state-run military academy. The comforting sense of home, the familiar voices of your family, are replaced by the raw smells of sweat, dust, and unyielding discipline. This isn't just school. This is a relentless, psychological and physical gauntlet designed to strip away every shred of softness and forge you into a weapon for Sparta. Your life, from this moment on, is a constant Hunger Games, a test of survival against deprivation, cold, and a relentless focus on absolute physical and mental endurance. You wake before dawn, not to the gentle sunlight filtering through your window, but to the harsh, guttural shout of a paidonomos, an older official overseeing your group. There is no time for stretching, no soft transitions. You are immediately pushed into a regimen of physical drills, running, wrestling, basic combat stances, all performed in the biting cold, often with minimal clothing. Your body aches constantly, your muscles screaming in protest. But to show weakness, to complain, is to invite immediate and painful punishment. The anxiety of falling behind, of appearing soft, is a constant, gnawing fear. Your living conditions are designed for maximum hardship. You are housed in stark, communal barracks, not unlike a prison cell block, with dozens of other boys. There are no individual beds, no privacy. You sleep on thin mats, often on the hard ground, sharing a rough woolen blanket with several others. The air is always cold, even in summer, due to the open nature of the barracks, built to acclimate you to the elements. You are given one tunic, thin and rough, and nothing else. Even in the depths of winter, the constant chill, the persistent discomfort, is meant to harden your body and mind, to make you impervious to external conditions. The food is meager, designed to keep you constantly on the edge of starvation. You receive a small ration of coarse barley bread, a few olives, and a thin, watery stew, famously known as melazomos, or black broth. It's a notoriously unappetizing concoction of boiled pork, blood, and vinegar, famously described by a visitor as being so terrible that it made death seem preferable. You force it down day after day, your body screaming for more nourishment, but you never complain. This popular historical fact of the Spartan black broth and meager rations is often cited as a cornerstone of their discipline, designed to teach boys to endure hunger and to forage or steal. This constant hunger is not an oversight, it's a deliberate part of your training. You are expected to supplement your meager rations by stealing food, but if you are caught, the punishment is swift and brutal, not for the act of stealing, but for the clumsiness of being caught. This unique detail of Spartan education, encouraging theft as a survival skill while punishing detection, taught cunning, stealth, and self-reliance rather than traditional morality. It's like a twisted game where the prize is food, and the penalty for losing is a brutal beating. Historians still debate the ethical implications of this aspect of the agoge, with some arguing it was a necessary evil for fostering resourcefulness, while others condemn it as promoting amorality. You learn to move like a shadow, to exploit every opportunity, to be faster, quieter, and more cunning than your peers. You learn to eye the mess halls, the kitchens, the market stalls, searching for a stray loaf of bread, a dropped piece of fruit, anything that might assuage the gnawing emptiness in your stomach. The anxiety of getting caught, of the public humiliation and the sharp sting of the whip, is a powerful motivator. You develop an almost superhuman level of stealth, able to slip in and out of guarded areas without a sound, your senses honed by desperate necessity. Your interactions with older boys are equally brutal. The Paidonomos encourages them to act as supervisors, to report any infractions, and even to physically discipline younger boys. You are frequently beaten by older boys for minor offenses, for being too slow, too loud, too soft. There is no appeal, no one to complain to. You learn to endure pain silently, to never cry out, to never show weakness. This constant physical and emotional pressure is designed to break down your individual will and forge you into an obedient, unyielding cog in the Spartan war machine. It's truly a dog-eat-dog world, but with extracurricular whippings. Your education is not about reading or writing. Beyond the most basic literacy needed for military orders, it is about physical prowess, mental fortitude, and absolute obedience. You learn wrestling, not as a sport, but as a brutal form of combat, designed to subdue an opponent quickly and efficiently. You learn to run barefoot over rocky terrain, your feet hardening into calloused weapons. You learn to endure extremes of heat and cold, to sleep in the open air, to survive with minimal provisions. Every single moment of your day is dedicated to this transformation. The language you use is also strictly controlled. Spartans are famous for their laconic speech, short, pithy, and to the point. You are punished for using too many words, for flowery language, for expressing elaborate emotions. Communication is direct, unambiguous, and solely for conveying necessary information. This forces you to be precise in your thoughts, to strip away all superfluous expression, and to deliver your message with maximum impact. The anxiety of speaking incorrectly, of saying too much or too little, is a constant pressure, even in casual conversation. You learn to communicate with glances, with subtle gestures, with the bare minimum of words. The moral lessons are equally stark. You are taught that the individual means nothing, the state is everything. Your life belongs to Sparta. Your body belongs to Sparta. Your loyalty is to Sparta, above all else, even family. You are taught that fear is a weakness, that pain is to be endured silently, and that death in battle for Sparta is the most glorious end imaginable. These are not abstract concepts. They are drilled into you daily through relentless repetition and brutal enforcement. You witness other boys falter. Some succumb to illness, weakened by the constant deprivation. Some are broken by the relentless discipline, their spirits crushed by the unending hardship. They simply disappear. You don't ask what happens to them. You learn to harden your heart, to focus solely on your own survival, on your own endurance. To show pity, to mourn for a lost comrade, is to show weakness. And weakness is a luxury you cannot afford. This creates a chilling sense of isolation, even amidst dozens of other boys. One particularly grueling exercise involves a forced march through the mountains, with minimal food and water, followed by a series of mock battles. You push your body to its absolute limits, your lungs burning, your limbs screaming with pain. You see boys collapse from exhaustion, from dehydration, but you keep going, driven by an unyielding will, a primal urge to survive. When you finally return, days later, utterly spent, you are given a brief moment of rest, then immediately pushed back into drills. There is no true respite, only the next challenge. This constant state of deprivation and physical discomfort is not just about forging warriors. It's about breaking down any attachment to comfort, any reliance on external pleasures. You learn to find satisfaction in endurance, in overcoming pain, in pushing your limits. You learn that your greatest strength lies in your ability to suffer silently, to persevere against impossible odds. It's a brutal, yet undeniably effective form of conditioning. The anxiety never truly leaves you. It simply changes form. It's no longer just the fear of physical punishment, but the deeper, more existential fear of not measuring up, of not becoming the Spartan ideal. The fear of being deemed weak, of failing Sparta, is a far more potent motivator than any whip. You internalize the expectations, becoming your own harshest critic, perpetually pushing yourself harder, faster, stronger. As your first year in the agoge draws to a close, you are no longer the frightened child who left his home. You are leaner, tougher, your skin weathered, your eyes sharper, filled with a grim determination. You have learned to endure hunger, cold, and pain. You have learned to steal, to fight, to obey without question. You are a paids, a nascent warrior, and the lessons of the agoge are etched not just into your mind, but into every fiber of your being. The terrible reality of school in ancient Sparta is that it doesn't just teach you, it remakes you, fundamentally, from the ground up, into a living, breathing weapon for the state. And you know, with chilling certainty, that this is only the beginning. The raw, biting wind across the agoge's dusty training grounds is a constant reminder of your new reality. You are no longer just enduring deprivation. You are now actively experiencing the discipline of the whip, a relentless, physical punishment designed not just to correct mistakes, but to harden your spirit, to burn away any lingering weakness or individuality. This isn't just tough love. It's a systematic breaking down and rebuilding, designed to forge you into an unyielding instrument of the state. Your days begin before the sun has even thought about rising. You are roused by the guttural shouts of your paidonomos and the sharp crack of his lash against the bare ground, an unmistakable prelude to the day's pain. You immediately join your fellow paids in a brutal regimen of physical exercise, endless running barefoot over rocky, uneven terrain, wrestling matches against boys older and stronger than yourself, and a relentless series of drills designed to push your body past its perceived limits. Your muscles scream, your lungs burn, and exhaustion is a constant companion. But to falter, to show weakness, is to invite the whip. The whip itself, often a simple leather thong or a switch cut from a nearby tree, is not used out of malice, but with a grim, dispassionate efficiency. It's a tool, wielded by older boys in the paidonomos, to enforce immediate obedience and to ingrain the Spartan ideal of stoicism. You are struck for being too slow, for not standing straight, for showing fear, for complaining, for any perceived infraction that deviates from the rigid Spartan ideal. The pain is sharp, often leaving angry welts on your bare skin, but you learn to internalize it, to never cry out, to never flinch. Your face becomes a mask of impassivity, even as your body screams in protest. This popular historical fact of the Spartan use of flogging and corporal punishment within the agoge is well documented. A brutal but effective method for cultivating discipline and endurance. You learn that the goal isn't just physical endurance, but mental fortitude. The pain is a test, a challenge to your will. You are expected to bear it silently, to absorb the blows without complaint, to stand firm. This relentless exposure to pain, coupled with the constant deprivation, is designed to desensitize you, to make you impervious to suffering on the battlefield. It's a chilling form of psychological conditioning, preparing you to face even the most horrific wounds without a flicker of fear. Imagine being taught to welcome pain as a sign of strength. It's a level of mental rewiring that's hard for us to even comprehend. Your interactions with your peers are equally brutal. Competition is fierce, encouraged by the paidonomos. You are constantly pitted against each other in wrestling matches, foot races, and mock combat. There is no true camaraderie in the modern sense. Every other boy is both a comrade in hardship and a rival, a potential threat to your own standing. Older boys are empowered to discipline younger ones, leading to a hierarchy of casual brutality. You learn to be cunning, to exploit weaknesses, to defend yourself constantly, for the agoge is a constant struggle for dominance and survival. This breeds a deep, almost instinctual understanding of power dynamics, a precursor to the ruthlessness required on the battlefield. One unique detail of this period is the ritual of the cheese stealing at the altar of Artemis Orthia. This wasn't just a simple game, it was a grueling, public endurance test. You and other boys would attempt to steal cheeses placed on the altar, while older boys, often armed with whips, guarded it fiercely. The goal wasn't just to get the cheese, it was to endure the flogging, to show your unwavering resolve and indifference to pain. You would stand there, enduring blow after blow, your body screaming, your teeth gritted, until either you collapsed or you managed to snatch a cheese. This brutal ritual, meant to instill extreme endurance and cunning, often resulted in severe injuries, even death. It's like a combination of an obstacle course and a public beating, just for a block of cheese. Historians still debate the precise ritualistic significance of the cheese stealing, with some emphasizing its religious and initiatory aspects, while others see it primarily as a brutal physical and psychological test. The hunger, which has been your constant companion, is intensified by this brutal regimen. You are perpetually underfed, your body aching for sustenance. This, as you know, is deliberate. It forces you to be resourceful, to hone your skills in stealth and cunning. You learn to eye the older boy's meager rations, to spot a forgotten piece of bread, to gauge the opportune moment to snatch it without being seen. The anxiety of getting caught is immense, for the punishment for clumsy theft is far worse than the hunger itself. You become a master of silent movement, of blending into shadows, of exploiting the smallest distractions. Your clothes, a single thin tunic, are rarely washed. Your body is lean, almost gaunt, but remarkably tough. Your hair is kept short, your appearance stark, devoid of any adornment. The lack of material comfort, the constant exposure to the elements, the persistent hunger and pain, all these are designed to strip away any sense of personal vanity or attachment to worldly possessions. You are taught to despise luxury, to find strength in austerity, to crave only the approval of the state and the honor of being a true Spartan. The mental discipline is as rigorous as the physical. You are taught to control your emotions, to never show fear, sadness, or joy. Expression is a weakness. You learn to maintain a stoic, impassive demeanor, a mask that hides any inner turmoil. Your voice is kept low, your words few, always precise and to the point. This laconic speech, cultivated through constant discipline, becomes a reflection of your hardened mind, devoid of superfluous sentiment. It's like being forced to live a permanent poker face, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are constantly reminded of the Spartan ideal discipline, obedience, self-sacrifice for the state, stories of heroes who died bravely in battle, of warriors who never flinched from pain, are drilled into you through endless repetition. These are not just tales. They are the very blueprints for your future self, the ideal you are relentlessly pressured to embody. The physical exhaustion is profound. You fall asleep instantly each night, your body utterly spent, but your sleep is rarely deep or restful. Your dreams are often plagued by the sounds of whips, the taunts of older boys, the gnawing pangs of hunger. You wake before dawn, every morning, to the same brutal routine, your body protesting, but your will unyielding. You witness other boys break. Some succumb to illness, their weakened bodies unable to withstand the deprivation. Some simply give up, their spirits crushed by the relentless discipline. They disappear from the barracks, never to be seen again. You don't ask what happens to them. You learn to harden your heart, to focus solely on your own survival, on your own endurance. To show pity or empathy is to risk your own downfall, to show a weakness that would be ruthlessly exploited. This creates a chilling sense of emotional isolation, even amidst dozens of other boys. As the years pass, and you progress through the ranks of the agoge, the discipline becomes even more intense, the expectations even higher. You are no longer just enduring the whip. You are learning to wield it, both literally and figuratively. As you take on the role of disciplining younger boys, you become both victim and perpetrator, perpetuating the brutal cycle that forged you. This internalizes the Spartan system, making you an active participant in its perpetuation, further solidifying its hold on your identity. The anxiety never truly dissipates. It transforms from the raw fear of pain into a deeper, more existential fear, the fear of failing Sparta, of not living up to the impossible ideal, the fear of being deemed unworthy, of being cast out, of proving yourself anything less than the perfect warrior. This is the most potent whip of all, an internal torment that drives you to push yourself beyond all limits, to endure beyond all suffering. By the time you are nearing your teenage years within the agoge, you are no longer recognizable as the 7-year-old boy who left his mother's side. Your body is lean, muscular, forged into a powerful instrument of war. Your face is grim, your eyes hard, reflecting years of pain and unwavering discipline. You have learned to endure, to obey, to fight, to steal, to suffer silently. You are a true product of Sparta, a young warrior honed by the brutal reality of its education. And you know, with chilling certainty, that the final, most terrifying tests are still yet to come. The constant ache in your muscles, the gnawing emptiness in your stomach, these are no longer just discomforts. They are constant companions, reminders of the Spartan ideal of self-reliance. You are deep within the agoge, progressing through the brutal tiers of training. And the lesson that now dominates your existence is the chilling art of stealing to survive. This isn't about petty pilfering. It's a high-stakes gamble where success means a temporary reprieve from hunger, and failure means a merciless public flogging. This reality sucks, even more than the black broth. The paedonomos, your stern overseers, don't provide enough food. It's a deliberate strategy, a cruel but effective method to hone your cunning, stealth, and resourcefulness. You are constantly hungry, your body perpetually craving sustenance. This hunger is a sharp, persistent pang, making it impossible to truly focus on anything else until it is, however temporarily, appeased. Your senses become hyper-attuned to the scent of cooking food, the rustle of a hidden ration bag, the subtle sounds of someone else eating. You learn to eye the older boys, the paedonomos themselves, and even the mess halls, searching for opportunities, a moment of inattention, a discarded crust of bread, a forgotten piece of fruit. These become targets of immense value. Your movements become silent, fluid, like a shadow. You learn to walk without a sound, to open and close doors without a creak, to slip through crowded areas unnoticed. This popular historical fact of Spartan boys being encouraged to steal food, but punished severely if caught, is a hallmark of the agoge, designed to instill vital survival skills. It's like a bizarre real-life stealth game, but with real consequences. The punishment for being caught stealing is not for the act of theft itself, but for the clumsiness, the lack of cunning, the failure to be truly Spartan in your stealth. You are publicly flogged, often with a raw switch or a leather thong, designed to inflict maximum pain and humiliation without permanent injury usually. The sting of the whip on your bare skin is agonizing, leaving angry welts that serve as stark reminders of your failure. You learn to suppress any cry, any flinch, any outward sign of pain. To do so would only invite more blows, and worse, the contempt of your peers and superiors. The anxiety of being caught, of enduring this brutal public spectacle, is a powerful motivator, driving you to ever greater levels of stealth and deception. Your senses become incredibly sharp. You can hear the distant crunch of footsteps on gravel, the subtle shift in breathing that indicates a guard's presence, the faintest rustle of clothing. Your eyes scan every environment, meticulously noting exits, potential hiding spots, and the precise movements of anyone who might stand between you and your target. You develop an almost predatory instinct, a primal focus on survival. One particularly grueling lesson involves a challenge set by your paidonomos to steal a specific small piece of dried meat from his personal locked larder. It's a test of ultimate stealth and cunning, knowing he will be actively watching, actively trying to catch you. You spend days observing his routine, memorizing his habits, testing the weak points of the larder. You learn that he always takes a brief, solitary walk to the training grounds after his evening meal, leaving the larder unguarded for a few precious minutes. The night of the attempt is cold and moonless, providing the perfect cover of darkness. Your heart pounds in your chest, but your movements are precise, silent. You slip through the barracks, past sleeping boys. Your bare feet making no sound on the cold stone, you reach the larder door. It's simple, secured with a basic wooden latch and a sturdy lock. You remember a trick an older boy taught you, how to use a thin, hardened piece of olive branch, carefully whittled to manipulate the tumblers of simple locks. Your fingers are nimble, guided by desperate hunger and the intense focus of your training. You work the lock in the oppressive silence, each faint click sounding deafeningly loud in your ears. You constantly glance over your shoulder, your breath held, straining for any sign of the paidonomos' return. The seconds stretch into an eternity. Finally, with a soft, almost imperceptible thunk, the lock yields. You gently push the door open, just enough to slip inside. The larder is dark, filled with the rich scent of smoked meats and stored grains. You move swiftly, silently, your hands seeking out the small, dried piece of meat you were tasked to steal. You find it, a hard, almost petrified chunk, and quickly tuck it into the meager pouch hidden inside your tunic. You then close the larder door, re-engaging the lock with painstaking care, leaving no trace of your presence. You make your way back through the barracks, your heart soaring with a surge of triumph, a fleeting moment of pure exhilaration. You did it. You outwitted the paidonomos. You have food. The relief is profound, a warmth that spreads through your perpetually cold body. The next morning, at breakfast, your paidonomos surveys the boys with a grim expression. One of you, he states, his voice low and dangerous, has been very clever. The larder was breached. A ripple of nervous glances passes through the group. Whoever it was, he continues, come forward now, and the punishment will be lighter. Your stomach clenches. This is the unique detail of the Spartan moral code. Confessing to a clumsy act of theft was a greater sign of weakness than the theft itself. You stand silent, impassive, along with all the other boys. The paidonomos scans your faces, his eyes piercing. He knows. He always knows. Very well, he finally states, a subtle, almost imperceptible glint in his eye. Then the punishment will be for the act of not confessing, a lack of directness. He singles out a few boys, seemingly at random, and orders them to receive several lashes. You watch, impassively, as they endure their punishment, knowing that it could easily have been you. The lesson is clear. Survival demands not just cunning, but an absolute poker face, a willingness to let others suffer for your own successful deception. This is a brutal lesson in calculated self-interest, a far cry from modern concepts of ethical behavior. Historians still debate the true motivations behind this punish the caught, not the thief policy, with some arguing it was solely to promote stealth, while others suggest it also served to identify and eliminate boys who were too timid or too honest for the Spartan ideal. This constant pressure to steal, to deceive, to outwit fundamentally reshapes your understanding of morality. Concepts like honesty and trust, so valued in other societies, are luxuries you cannot afford. Your ethics are defined by practicality, what is necessary for survival, for discipline, for the state. You learn that the end justifies the means, that deception is a valuable tool, and that vulnerability is a fatal flaw. The anxiety of hunger is replaced periodically by the anxiety of indigestion from stolen, hastily consumed food. You learn to eat quickly, discreetly, often in hidden corners or under the cover of night. You chew every morsel thoroughly, savoring the precious sustenance, knowing it might be hours or days before you have another opportunity. The constant physical discomfort, the perpetual gnawing of your empty stomach becomes a part of your being, a constant reminder of the agoge's unforgiving nature. You notice the differences among the boys who try to steal. Some are clumsy, constantly caught, their bodies scarred by frequent floggings. They eventually wither, physically or spiritually, unable to adapt to the demands. Others, like you, become masters of stealth, their faces impassive, their movements silent, rarely caught. These are the ones who will survive, who will become the future warriors of Sparta. You see the raw, brutal Darwinism of the agoge playing out every single day. As the years pass in this brutal training, the lessons become more ingrained, more instinctive. The desire for personal comfort, for luxury, for indulgence, it all slowly withers away, replaced by an almost ascetic dedication to discipline and self-control. You despise weakness, both in yourself and in others. You learn to find a grim satisfaction in endurance, in overcoming hardship, in pushing your body and mind to their absolute limits. The anxiety of daily survival, of constant physical pain, and of the perpetual hunger forces you to confront your deepest fears. You learn that the greatest strength is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act decisively despite it. You learn to control your impulses, to think strategically even when your body screams in protest. You are not just being trained, you are being completely re-engineered. Your very humanity reshaped into the unyielding form of a Spartan warrior. And the chilling reality is, you are becoming exactly what they want you to be. The relentless discipline of the whip, the gnawing hunger, the constant threat of exposure, these have become the grim soundtrack of your existence in the agoge. You are no longer just surviving, you are evolving. Your body, once a child's, is now a lean, hardened instrument. Your mind, once prone to childish fears, is now a sharp, cunning tool. And as you progress through the ranks, the focus shifts inexorably towards the heart of Spartan life, the crucible of battle. This isn't theoretical warfare. It's a relentless immersion in combat drills, mock skirmishes, and the brutal reality of what it truly means to be a Spartan warrior. Your days are now dominated by weapons training. You are taught to wield the doru, the formidable Spartan spear, its length an extension of your own arm. You learn to hold the hoplon, the massive circular shield, a heavy disc of bronze and wood that becomes your primary defense and offense. You learn to move in unison with your fellow paids, practicing the intricate formations of the phalanx, the impenetrable wall of shields and spears that is the hallmark of Spartan might. Every step, every thrust, every block is drilled relentlessly, hundreds of times, until it becomes second nature, an instinct born of endless repetition. The sound of clashing wooden shields and the rhythmic thud of feet on the dusty training ground are constant. The mock combat is not gentle. You are pitted against boys older and stronger than yourself, often with wooden weapons that, while blunted, can still deliver bone-jarring blows. You learn to absorb impacts, to fall and rise quickly, to exploit any weakness in your opponent's stance. Injuries are common: bruised ribs, sprained ankles, gashed hands. You learn to ignore the pain, to push through it, to never show weakness. To falter is to invite immediate and brutal correction from the paidonomos, who stand ever present, their whips a constant threat. The anxiety of physical failure, of being deemed too weak to fight effectively, is a powerful daily pressure. This training isn't just about physical prowess. It's about building unbreakable unit cohesion. You fight alongside the same boys, sleep beside them, suffer with them. You learn to trust them implicitly, for your life will one day depend on their discipline and theirs on yours. You learn to recognize their breathing, their movements, to anticipate their needs without a word. This shared ordeal forges bonds far stronger than any friendship, a silent understanding born of mutual suffering and absolute reliance. It's truly like being on an eternal sports team, but the game is life or death, and the coach is a sociopath. One popular historical fact that is central to your education is the importance of the phalanx formation. This wasn't just a military tactic, it was a way of life, a physical manifestation of Spartan society's values. Every man was a single, indispensable brick in an impenetrable wall. To break formation, to abandon your shield, was the ultimate disgrace, a betrayal of your comrades and the state. You are drilled in this relentlessly, learning to move as one monolithic entity, a human battering ram. The constant shouts of "hold the line" become etched into your very soul. The lessons extend beyond the training grounds. You learn tactics, not from dusty scrolls, but from practical exercises. You are given hypothetical scenarios, an ambush in a narrow pass, a siege of a fortified hill, and expected to devise solutions, to anticipate the enemy's moves. You learn the importance of terrain, of supplies, of deception. You participate in elaborate war games, where victory is celebrated with fierce pride and defeat, even in a mock battle, is met with grim disappointment and additional, brutal drills. The environment of the agoge is designed to mimic the hardships of warfare. You are still constantly hungry, your body lean and strong but perpetually craving sustenance. You are exposed to the elements, taught to endure freezing nights and scorching days with minimal clothing. This constant discomfort is meant to make the actual conditions of battle feel less severe, to ensure that hunger, cold, or exhaustion will never break your resolve. One unique detail you encounter during this period is the war dance practice. This isn't about elegant choreography. It's a brutal, rhythmic form of physical conditioning performed naked, often to the beat of a flute. It's designed to improve agility, stamina, and coordination, but also to instill a deep, almost primal connection to the warrior spirit. You move with a fierce intensity, your body flowing with controlled aggression, your mind focused solely on the rhythm and the raw physicality. It's a testament to the holistic, albeit brutal, nature of Spartan training, where even dance served a military purpose. Historians still debate the precise form and psychological impact of Spartan war dances, with some sources suggesting they were highly stylized, almost hypnotic, performances designed to instill courage and intimidation. The punishments are still severe, a constant reminder of the consequences of failure. The whip is ever present, used for any sloppiness in drills, any hint of insubordination, or any display of fear. You witness boys being publicly flogged for minor infractions. Their stoic endurance a grim example for all to follow. The constant threat of pain is a powerful motivator, driving you to ever greater levels of perfection in your combat skills. You are taught to use every part of your body as a weapon. Your calloused feet, hardened by endless running, can deliver devastating kicks. Your hands, strengthened by wrestling and drilling, can crush an opponent's windpipe. Your mind, honed by deprivation and discipline, becomes your most potent weapon, capable of assessing a situation instantly and making split-second decisions under extreme pressure. The ultimate goal of this phase of training is to instill in you an absolute disregard for your own life in service to Sparta. You are taught that death in battle, for the glory of the state, is the most honorable fate. To retreat, to surrender, to show fear. These are unforgivable sins, leading to a lifetime of shame and ostracism. You internalize this concept not as a philosophical idea, but as an absolute truth, a core principle that guides your every action. The anxiety of cowardice, of failing your comrades and your city on the battlefield, becomes a far greater fear than death itself. You participate in full-scale mock battles, often against older, more experienced Irenes, older Spartan youths who are further along in their training, or even junior hippies, elite Spartan cavalry, honor guards. These are brutal, realistic engagements, fought with all the ferocity of real combat, though with blunted weapons. You experience the chaos of the melee, the crush of bodies, the desperate struggle for survival. You learn to trust your shield mate implicitly, to hold your position, no matter the cost. These experiences forge an unbreakable bond with your comrades, a shared understanding born of the crucible of simulated warfare. The fatigue is bone deep, a perpetual exhaustion that never truly lifts. You fall asleep instantly each night, your body utterly spent, but your mind often replays the day's drills, analyzing mistakes, strategizing for the next mock battle. Your dreams are filled with the clang of steel, the shouts of commanders, and the grim faces of your fellow paids. There is no escape from the agoge, even in sleep. You witness boys who cannot meet the demands. Some break down mentally, unable to cope with the relentless pressure. Some fail to master the combat skills, their movements clumsy, their reflexes slow. They are quietly, subtly, removed from the main group, sent to live a life of ignominy as inferiors, hypomyones, forever shamed, never true Spartans. This fate is worse than death in the eyes of any boy in the agoge, a powerful incentive to push yourself beyond all limits. The anxiety of failing to achieve the Spartan ideal, of living a life of shame, is a constant gnawing fear. By the time you are nearing your late teens, you are a formidable physical specimen. Your body is a testament to years of brutal training, lean, powerful, efficient. Your reflexes are lightning fast, your movements precise and economical. Your eyes are hard, focused, betraying no emotion. You are a trained killer, a honed weapon, ready to be unleashed on the enemies of Sparta. The agoge has stripped you of your childhood, your individuality, and any softness you once possessed. It has replaced them with unwavering discipline, unyielding courage, and absolute loyalty to the state. The terrible reality of your schooling has reached its brutal peak. and you are ready for the final terrifying tests that will determine your ultimate fate as a Spartan warrior. The clang of steel, the rhythmic shouts of drill sergeants, the biting wind whipping across your near-naked skin. These sensations are so deeply ingrained in you that they feel more real than any memory of softness or comfort. You are a hardened Spartan youth, asphalerious, nearing the culmination of your brutal agoge training. The physical and mental deprivations, the constant hunger, the merciless discipline of the whip, these have forged your body into a weapon and your mind into an unyielding instrument of the state. Now, the focus of your education shifts to laconicism, the Spartan way of few words and brutal honesty, a philosophy applied to every facet of your existence. This isn't about mere politeness or brevity. It's about efficiency, discipline, and the complete eradication of superfluous emotion. You are taught that excessive speech is a sign of weakness, a waste of precious breath that could be used for battle commands or a warrior's final gasp. Every word must carry weight. Every sentence must be direct, unambiguous, and convey only essential information. Small talk, pleasantries, expressions of doubt or fear, these are all stripped away, deemed unnecessary and detrimental to the Spartan ideal. It's like living in a society where everyone communicates in military telegrams, and anything extra is a punishable offense. Your Paidonomos and the older Irenes, Spartan youths who are further along in their training, now acting as instructors, are relentless in enforcing this. If you use too many words to answer a question, you are immediately cut off, often with a sharp slap or a quick lash of the whip. If your answer is vague, if it lacks directness, you are forced to repeat it, sometimes dozens of times, until it is stripped bare to its most essential meaning. The anxiety of speaking incorrectly, of being verbose, of failing to convey your meaning with absolute Spartan brevity, is a constant pressure during every interaction. You learn to edit your thoughts before they even form into words. This focus on brevity extends to every aspect of your communication. When asked about a drill, you might respond with a single word like done or mastered. When reporting an incident, you provide only the bare facts, devoid of embellishment or personal opinion. Emotional language is forbidden. If you are in pain, you don't say, "I am hurt." You might simply say, "damaged," or nothing at all, your stoic expression conveying all that is necessary. This popular historical fact of Spartan laconic speech is one of their most famous traits, giving us the very word laconic in English. It wasn't a choice. It was a fundamental part of their indoctrination. You learn to communicate with glances, with subtle nods, with changes in posture. A sharp look from your Paidonomos conveys immediate disapproval. A grunt from a fellow paids signifies agreement. Your body language becomes as precise and controlled as your spoken words, conveying messages without drawing unnecessary attention or betraying emotion. This fosters a chilling efficiency in communication, allowing complex commands to be given and understood with minimal fuss, even amidst the chaos of training or future battle. The oral examinations are a brutal test of this laconic ideal. You are given complex scenarios, a tactical problem, a legal dispute, a moral dilemma, and expected to provide concise, direct solutions or judgments using the absolute minimum of words. There's no room for hesitation, no opportunity for rambling explanations. Your answers must be like a Spartan spear, sharp, to the point, and utterly effective. The anxiety of these verbal duels, knowing that your intellectual and rhetorical prowess is being judged with the same severity as your physical strength, is immense. One unique detail you encounter is the practice of riddle exchanges among the older boys and Irenes. These aren't just for entertainment. They are a form of intellectual sparring. designed to test your quick wit and your ability to discern meaning from limited information, all while adhering to the laconic ideal. The riddles are often cryptic, political, or philosophical, requiring deep thought, but demanding a concise, often biting, answer. To fail to solve a riddle, or to answer it with too many words, earns you public mockery, and often a sharp reminder from the whip. It's like a rap battle, but with ancient Greek philosophy and very painful consequences for losing. Historians still debate the specific content and purpose of Spartan riddles, with some suggesting they were primarily for intellectual development, while others argue they were also a tool for reinforcing social hierarchies and control. This constant pressure to be laconic extends even to moments of shared hardship. When a fellow paids collapses from exhaustion during a forced march, you don't offer comforting words. You might simply share a look, a grim nod, and then continue on, understanding that sympathy is a luxury you cannot afford, and that his endurance is his own battle to fight. This further reinforces the emotional stoicism, the suppression of empathy, which is a core tenet of Spartan training. You also learn the brutal honesty that accompanies laconicism. Spartans are famously blunt, direct, and often brutally truthful in their assessments. If a fellow paids performs poorly, you tell him so, without sugarcoating or polite euphemisms. If a plan is flawed, you state it simply, without apology. This directness, while jarring to outsiders, fosters a culture of clear communication and eliminates ambiguity, the anxiety of delivering or receiving such stark truths. Knowing there is no soften blow is a constant part of your social interactions. The stories of famous Spartan laconicisms are often repeated by your paidonomos as examples to emulate. You hear of King Leonidas's response to the Persian demand that the Spartans lay down their arms, come and get them, mullen lab. Or the Spartan mother handing her son his shield with the words, with it or on it, meaning return victorious with your shield, or dead upon it. These are not just anecdotes, they are moral lessons, blueprints for how a true Spartan should speak, act, and ultimately die. You are expected to internalize these, to embody them. The internal transformation is profound. Your mind, once prone to flights of fancy or elaborate daydreaming, becomes streamlined, efficient. You think in terms of essentials, of direct solutions, of undeniable truths. The world becomes a series of problems to be solved, challenges to be overcome, and emotions to be controlled. The ability to filter out the irrelevant, to focus solely on the task at hand, becomes second nature. This relentless mental conditioning, combined with the ongoing physical deprivation and punishment, leaves you feeling perpetually on edge, yet utterly controlled. You are a walking paradox, a highly disciplined, outwardly calm individual, constantly suppressing a wellspring of inner anxiety and the raw, untamed urges of your human nature. The terrible reality of your schooling is that it seeks to strip away your very humanity, to remake you into a perfect, unfeeling instrument of the state. And the chilling truth is, it's largely succeeding. As you near the final stages of the agoge, perhaps in your late teens or early 20s, you are recognized as a true product of Sparta. Your body is a testament to years of brutal training, every muscle honed for combat. Your mind is sharp, disciplined, capable of cutting through any ambiguity. Your words are few, but they carry the weight of authority and the chilling bluntness of truth. You are ready for the ultimate test, the final crucible that will define your transition from a paids to a full-fledged Spartan citizen. And the anxiety of that final test, of proving yourself worthy of the Spartan name, is the most profound and encompassing fear you have ever known. The air in Sparta, though often filled with the shouts of training and the clang of steel, now seems to hum with a new, more sinister energy. You are a Homer or Iron, a young Spartan man in your late teens or early 20s, Having endured years of brutal discipline, hunger, and relentless training in the agoge, you are physically formidable, mentally unyielding, and your laconic speech cuts through any pretense. You are ready for the ultimate test of your loyalty and cunning, a terrifying rite of passage known as the Crypteia, Shadow and Blade. This isn't a mock battle, it's a clandestine initiation into ultimate Spartan control, a dark secret whispered only among the most trusted, designed to instill a terrifying ruthlessness and maintain the iron grip of the state. You are summoned by the ephors, the highest magistrates of Sparta, their faces grim and unyielding. They are the true power behind the two kings, the guardians of the Spartan constitution, and their word is absolute. They explain, in stark, laconic terms, the purpose of the Crypteia: to instill discipline, to test your resilience, and to maintain the absolute control over the Helots, the enslaved population of Laconia. The Helots outnumber Spartans significantly, and their constant subjugation is the very foundation upon which Spartan society is built. The Crypteia is a brutal tool to keep them in check, a terrifying shadow looming over their lives. This isn't a public event. It's a secret, clandestine operation, conducted under the cloak of night. You are stripped of your high Macian cloak and given only a dagger and minimal provisions. You are sent out into the Spartan countryside, alone, your mission chillingly simple to survive by your wits, to observe the Helots, and to kill any who appear too strong, too rebellious, or too dangerous. This popular historical fact of the Crypteia, a secret police force composed of young Spartans hunting Helots, is one of the darkest and most controversial aspects of Spartan society, truly highlighting the terrible reality of their brutal system. It's like a real-life horror movie, where you are forced to be the monster. The anxiety that washes over you is unlike any you've felt before. This isn't the controlled pain of the whip or the public humiliation of getting caught stealing. This is a moral abyss, a chilling descent into calculated murder. You have been trained to fight enemies on the battlefield, to face them honorably. But this is different. This is about stalking and eliminating an unarmed, oppressed population, often in their sleep, simply to instill fear and maintain control. Your previous training, brutal as it was, at least had a clear, albeit harsh, ethical framework. This has none. You move through the night, a shadow among shadows, utilizing every ounce of stealth and tracking skill you honed in the agoge. Your senses are hyper-attuned to the sounds of the countryside, the rustle of leaves, the distant bark of a dog, the faint glow of Helot campfires. You learn to blend into the darkness, to move without a sound, to become an invisible predator. The cold of the night seeps into your bones, but the chill in your heart is far colder. You observe the Helot communities from a distance. You see their meager dwellings, their simple lives, their weary faces. You witness their quiet resentment, their suppressed anger, the simmering embers of rebellion that the ephors fear so deeply. And as you watch them, a strange conflict stirs within you. You have been taught to despise them, to view them as a subhuman threat to Sparta, but you also see their humanity, their suffering, their quiet dignity. This internal struggle between your brutal training and a nascent sense of empathy is a profound psychological torment. The task of selecting a target is agonizing. You are looking for signs of potential leadership, of physical prowess, of an independent spirit that could ignite a rebellion. You look for the strongest, the most defiant, the ones who might inspire others. It's a chilling calculus, a judgment based on fear and potential threat, rather than any actual crime. The anxiety of choosing, of making a life or death decision in the dead of night, is immense. One particularly moonless night, You come across a helot family gathered around a small fire, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. Among them is a powerful young man, his muscles thick from labor, his eyes reflecting a quiet, brooding strength. He speaks little, but his presence commands respect from the others. He is exactly the kind of helot the Ephors fear. He is your target. You stalk him, a silent hunter in the darkness. Your dagger, a cold, familiar weight in your hand, feels alien and heavy. You are a trained killer. Yes, but this is not battle. This is an execution carried out in the shadows, devoid of honor or glory. The silence of the night amplifies every rustle of leaves, every beat of your own heart. As you close in, preparing to strike, a unique detail catches your eye. Around the young helot's neck, almost hidden beneath his simple tunic, hangs a small, intricately carved wooden charm. It's a depiction of a wolf, not snarling, but standing alert, watchful, its gaze directed towards the distant mountains. You recognize it from ancient helot folklore, a symbol of quiet resistance, of a spirit that cannot be broken. This small, seemingly insignificant detail underscores the deep, enduring cultural identity of the helots, even under brutal oppression. It's a reminder that even without overt rebellion, their spirit persists, a silent challenge to Spartan dominance. Historians still debate the extent to which helot culture and resistance were maintained through such subtle, often hidden, symbols and practices. The sight of the charm gives you pause. He is not just a helot, he is a symbol, a vessel of his people's enduring spirit. You have been taught to extinguish such symbols, to crush such spirits. But something, a flicker of something human, hesitates within you. Your rigorous training has instilled absolute obedience, but the brutal reality of this act, its cold-blooded nature, stirs a deep discomfort. You make your decision. You retreat, not from fear of capture, but from a deeper, more profound fear of what this act would do to your own soul. You leave the young helot undisturbed, disappearing back into the shadows. You have failed the Ephors' direct command, but you have, perhaps, saved a piece of your own humanity. The anxiety of having defied the state, of risking severe punishment for this act of mercy, is now a chilling companion. You spend the rest of your Cryptia period in constant vigilance, but without taking another life. You survive by your wits, constantly moving, constantly observing, ensuring you are never caught. You learn to live off the land with even greater efficiency, becoming a true master of evasion. You track Roman patrols, learn their routes, and subtly gather intelligence on their movements, knowing that this knowledge could be valuable, a way to justify your extended absence to the Ephors. This is your way of showing continued value, even if you are not fulfilling their most brutal directive. When you finally return to Sparta, weeks or even months later, your body is gaunt, your face etched with the hardships you've endured, but your eyes are sharp, and you carry a newfound chilling knowledge of the world beyond the agoge. You report to the Ephors, detailing your survival, your observations of helot movements, and the general state of the countryside. You omit the crucial detail of your act of mercy, the life you spared. You maintain a stoic, laconic demeanor, revealing nothing of your inner conflict. They scrutinize you, their eyes piercing, trying to read your intentions. They see the evidence of your hardship, the discipline in your posture, the unyielding gaze. They ask few questions, their laconicism mirroring your own. They are looking for signs of weakness, of disobedience, of a spirit that has been broken rather than hardened. You pass their unspoken test. You are deemed a survivor, a successful participant in the Crypteia, a man hardened by its brutal realities. You are welcomed back into the Spartan community, not with celebration, but with a quiet acknowledgement. You have completed the crypteia. You have faced the darkness, and you have returned. You are now recognized as a full Spartan citizen, capable of wielding the blade and the shadow. But the experience has left an indelible mark. The memory of the young helot with the wolf charm, the moral dilemma, the act of defiance, it all lingers. You understand the brutal machinery of Spartan control, the lengths to which the state will go to maintain its power. You have become a part of that machinery, a cog in its terrifying system. The anxiety of your new identity, of living with the knowledge of what you are capable of and what you chose not to do, is a profound and lasting burden. You are a Spartan warrior, forged in the crucible of the agoge and tested in the dark, silent depths of the crypteia. And as you step into your full role in Spartan society, you know that the terrible reality of your existence has only just begun. The final test, the air in Sparta, no longer filled with the raw, youthful chaos of the agoge, now hums with the disciplined rhythm of a society entirely geared for war. You are no longer a pades or an iron. You are a man, perhaps in your early 20s, forged in the crucible of state-mandated brutality, hardened by hunger, pain, and the chilling lessons of the crypteia. You stand on the precipice of full Spartan citizenship, poised to become a homoios, a peer or equal. But first, you must endure the final tests and transition into the full grip of Spartan society. This isn't a single event, but a series of culminating examinations, both formal and informal, designed to ensure your absolute readiness for a life of unwavering service to the state. Your body is a testament to years of relentless physical conditioning, lean, corded with muscle, capable of extraordinary feats of endurance. Your mind is sharp, disciplined, capable of laconic precision and brutal honesty. Your spirit, once soft and individual, has been systematically stripped bare and rebuilt in the image of the Spartan ideal. One of the most intense final evaluations is the dokimasia, a public examination of your physical prowess and moral character. You are brought before the ephors and a council of elders, not in the privacy of a room, but in the open air of the public training grounds. You demonstrate your skills in wrestling, in running, in wielding the spear and shield. You answer their terse, probing questions about Spartan law, about your loyalty, about your readiness to die for the state. They are looking for any hesitation, any weakness, any crack in your hardened facade. The anxiety of this public scrutiny, of being judged by the very men who hold absolute power over your life, is immense. It's like presenting your final thesis to the most intimidating panel of judges imaginable. Knowing failure means permanent social ostracism. You are expected to recount the retras, the unwritten laws of Lycurgus, the legendary lawgiver, word for word, demonstrating your absolute mastery of the Spartan constitution. You speak of the importance of austerity, of obedience, of communal living, of the supremacy of the state over the individual. Your voice is steady, laconic, devoid of any personal inflection, a mere conduit for the collective wisdom of Sparta. Beyond the formal tests, there are the informal ones. The ephors, or older Spartans, might subtly attempt to tempt you, offering forbidden luxuries, rich foods, fine wines, soft garments, to see if your ascetic conditioning has truly taken hold. They might whisper enticing offers of power, of personal wealth, to test your dedication to the communal ideal. You learn to instantly reject these temptations, to disdain them with a quiet contempt that is not feigned, but genuinely ingrained within you. Any sign of weakness, any hint of longing for personal indulgence would brand you as unfit, forever and inferior. This unique detail of using subtle temptations as a final loyalty test highlights the pervasive psychological control within Sparta, extending even beyond formal training. It's like your parents testing if you'll steal from the cookie jar after years of lessons on honesty. Historians still debate the frequency and exact nature of such informal moral tests within Spartan society, often relying on anecdotal evidence from ancient authors. The ultimate test, however, is your willingness to integrate fully into the syssitia, the communal mess hall. This is where Spartan men eat, live, and bond together, sharing meager meals and endless discussions of military strategy and civic duty. To be accepted into a syssitia is to be accepted as a homoios, a full peer. You must be voted in by the existing members, and a single blackball, a single negative vote, is enough to deny you entry, forever condemning you to the life of a hypomaion, an inferior. This vote is taken in silence, using pieces of bread, so you never know who, if anyone, might have voted against you. The anxiety of this silent, anonymous judgment of your entire future resting on the collective opinion of men you have both trained with and competed against is terrifying. You sit in the communal hall, your heart pounding as the bread is distributed, as the votes are cast. You watch the faces of the men, searching for any telltale sign, any flicker of animosity or doubt. You have spent years proving your strength, your discipline, your loyalty, but in this moment, it is entirely out of your hands. The silence is deafening, stretched thin with anticipation. When the final count is made and you are declared accepted, a profound sense of relief washes over you. Not joy, for Spartans do not indulge in overt emotion, but a deep, quiet satisfaction. You have passed. You are now a homoios. You are a full Spartan citizen. You have transcended your individual self and become a true part of the collective. Your transition into full Spartan society is not a sudden release, but a new set of rigid expectations. You continue to live in the barracks until the age of 30, even after marriage. Your life remains communal, disciplined, and entirely devoted to the state. Your body is still expected to be honed for war, your mind sharp, your words laconic. You participate in the daily exercises, the communal meals, the endless discussions of strategy and governance. Your marriage, when it happens, is often a calculated affair, arranged by elders or the state, designed to produce healthy, strong offspring for Sparta. You rarely see your wife as you continue to live in the barracks. Your children, if they are boys, will follow the exact same brutal path you have endured, entering the agoge at age 7. This perpetuates the cycle, a testament to the unchanging, unyielding nature of Spartan society. The anxiety of passing on this brutal legacy, of subjecting your own children to the same hardships you faced, is a complex mix of duty and quiet sorrow. You also assume new responsibilities within the Spartan hierarchy. You might serve as a paidonomos yourself, perpetuating the cycle of brutal discipline for the younger boys. You become the wielder of the whip, the enforcer of the strictures you once endured. This is a profound shift, forcing you to become the very authority figure you once feared, embodying the harsh principles that shaped you. The moral ambiguity of this role, of inflicting the same pain you once suffered, is a quiet burden. The helots, the enslaved population, remain the underlying foundation of Spartan society. Their forced labor allowing the Spartans to dedicate themselves entirely to military training. You now understand the full extent of the state's ruthless control, and you are an active participant in maintaining it. The Krypteia, that dark, secret arm of Spartan control, remains active, and you, as a homoios, are aware of its operations, perhaps even tasked with participating in it on occasion. This popular historical fact of the helot system being fundamental to Spartan society and the constant fear of helot revolt permeated every aspect of Spartan life. Your life is a constant state of readiness. You are a soldier, a citizen, a living embodiment of the Spartan ideal. There is no personal wealth to amass, no private indulgences to seek. Your value is measured solely by your contribution to the state's military might, by your unwavering discipline, and by your willingness to die bravely in battle for Sparta. The anxiety of maintaining this perfection, of never faltering, of always being ready to fulfill your ultimate purpose, is a permanent fixture in your soul. You gaze upon the dusty training grounds, the stark barracks, the young boys now enduring the same hardships you once faced. You see their strained faces, their moments of hidden pain, their desperate attempts at stealth. You recognize yourself in them, a reflection of the brutal transformation. You know the terrible reality they are living, and the even more brutal reality they will become. By the age of 30, you finally transition into your own home, though your communal duties continue. You are a full, respected Spartan citizen, a homoios, but the agoge never truly leaves you. It is etched into your muscles, into your mind, into the very core of your being. The terrible reality of school in ancient Sparta is that it is not just an education, it is a permanent reprogramming, a fundamental reshaping of your identity from a child into an unyielding instrument of war. You have successfully navigated its brutal path, and now your entire life is a testament to its unyielding grip. You are a Spartan, and that is all you are, and all you ever will be. The years continue their relentless march, carrying the faint echoes of Roman conquest further into the past, yet solidifying their presence across the land. Your hair, once dark and vibrant, is now streaked with the silver of countless winters spent in the hidden cave, a testament to your unwavering dedication. The lines on your face tell a story of hardship, vigilance, and the profound weight of a brutal responsibility. You are no longer just the wandering weaver. You are an elder druid, a living bridge to a vanishing past, and a quiet beacon for a future that still feels distant, yet undeniably closer. The anxiety, now an ingrained part of your being, pulses with the rhythm of the enduring Celtic spirit you tirelessly guard. Your network of whispered resistance has grown, slowly but steadily. You meet with other surviving druids and loyalists in remote, perilous locations, deep within forgotten caves, on desolate mountain peaks, or amidst the swirling mists of ancient bogs. These clandestine gatherings are vital, moments where fragmented pieces of knowledge are shared, where interpretations of omens are debated, and where the fragile embers of hope are rekindled. You share your profound astronomical knowledge, guiding them on the precise timing of festivals and the subtle turning of the celestial wheel, ensuring that the spiritual rhythm of your people remains unbroken, even under Roman oppression. This academic point of contention often discusses the actual extent of communication and coordination between various Druidic groups after the Roman conquest, with some scholars suggesting more isolation than widespread networks. You hear reports of the boy with the twisted sun mark, now growing into a strong, perceptive young man. He is unknowingly being nurtured, according to your subtle guidance, his spirit awakening to the ancient ways. You feel a deep, quiet satisfaction, a sense of profound purpose that transcends your own suffering. He is the future, a living testament to your endurance. The anxiety about his safety, however, is a constant, gnawing worry, a reminder that the Romans, if they ever learned of his significance, would stop at nothing to eliminate him. The Roman Empire, though seemingly invincible, begins to show subtle cracks, whispers of internal strife, of distant barbarian raids on their borders, filter through your network. Their legions, once an endless tide, are now often stretched thin, battling threats on multiple fronts. This provides a glimmer of opportunity, a fragile hope that the grip of the invaders might one day weaken. You interpret these signs through the lens of your ancient prophecies, seeing them as the slow, inevitable turning of the great wheel, the prelude to a new dawn. Your travels as the wandering weaver become more purposeful. You seek out not just those who remember the old ways, but those who are weary of the Roman yoke, those who yearn for freedom. You subtly fan the flames of discontent, weaving tales of ancient heroes, of the glory of a free Celtic past, into the very fabric of your stories and your woven goods. You remind them of the power of their own spirits, the strength of their ancestral lands. This unique detail of Druids evolving from overt religious leaders to subtle cultural resistance figures, embedding their spiritual and national identity within everyday cultural practices, demonstrates their profound adaptability and resilience. One day, as you are weaving in a small remote hamlet, a Roman centurion and a small patrol unexpectedly ride into the village. They are not looking for you specifically, but conducting a routine inspection, ensuring compliance with Roman law. Your heart leaps into your throat. You calmly continue your weaving, your hands steady, your face impassive. The anxiety is a cold dread, but you rely on your long-practiced composure. The centurion dismounts, his eyes sweeping over the villagers with a stern, assessing gaze. He approaches your stall, his shadow falling over your loom. "What are you weaving, old woman?" He barks, his voice rough. You look up, your eyes veiled with feigned weariness. "Just simple patterns." "Sir?" you reply, your voice a little raspy from the cold. "To keep the cold from the bones, and a few charms for good fortune." You subtly gesture to a woven scarf, on which you've discreetly embedded a tiny, almost invisible symbol of the Celtic sun, surrounded by a pattern of interwoven knots that symbolize unity. The centurion snorts. "Superstitious nonsense. Your people cling to their old ways like burrs to a sheep's wool. It is futile. Rome is eternal." He glances dismissively at your work, clearly unimpressed by your humble craft. He is completely oblivious to the hidden message, the quiet defiance woven into the very threads. This popular historical fact of Roman authorities often underestimating the cultural and spiritual resilience of conquered peoples, dismissing their traditions as mere superstition, proved to be one of their strategic weaknesses in fully pacifying some regions. He turns to the villagers, delivering a stern lecture about Roman law, about paying taxes, about the futility of resistance. As he speaks, you continue to weave, your fingers moving with quiet purpose. You catch the eyes of a few villagers, their faces grim, and in their gaze, you see a flicker of understanding, a shared defiance. The Roman may speak of eternal empire, but your weaving whispers of eternal spirit. As the centurion finally rides off with his patrol, the villagers slowly approach your stall, their expressions a mixture of fear and a newfound determination. They quietly buy your woven goods, their fingers lingering on the subtle symbols, their eyes meeting yours with a shared understanding. You are not just selling cloth, you are selling hope, weaving the very fabric of their cultural survival. The years of solitude, the burden of knowledge, the constant anxiety of your hidden life, they have forged you into something unbreakable. You are a living legend, even if no one knows your name. You are the unseen root of a future forest, the quiet guardian of a sun waiting to rise. Your final act of direct, Symbolic defiance comes as the news of a major Roman withdrawal from a distant province reaches your hidden community. It is a small victory, a faint glimmer, but a victory nonetheless. You gather the scattered druids and loyalists in a secret, ancient clearing, a place that has remained untouched by Roman hands. Here, beneath the full moon, you lead a sacred ritual, not of sacrifice, but of renewal. You stand at the center of the clearing, your gnarled oak staff pulsing faintly with ancient energy. Around you, the faces of your fellow druids and a few trusted chieftains are illuminated by the flickering firelight. You recite the ancient prophecies, not with despair, but with a new sense of quiet triumph. You speak of the turning of the wheel, of the long winter giving way to a new spring, of the sun rising from the darkness. You bless the ground beneath your feet, not just with words, but with a profound spiritual energy that flows from you, a silent promise of rebirth. You then take a single, carefully preserved sprig of mistletoe, an ancient symbol of life and renewal. You plant it gently into the earth, at the very center of the clearing, a silent testament to the enduring spirit of your people. This academic point of contention often arises in the interpretation of Druidic rituals. Were they purely symbolic, or did they genuinely believe in their ability to influence the physical world and bring about change? Your belief in this moment is absolute. As the ritual concludes, a sense of profound peace settles over you, a calm that transcends the ever-present anxiety. You have done your part. You have carried the torch through the darkest night. You have ensured that the flame of knowledge, the spirit of your people, will never truly die. The brutal responsibility of being a druid, of enduring unimaginable hardship and loneliness, has been fulfilled. You return to your hidden cave, the silence no longer oppressive, but comforting. You continue your meticulous charting of the stars, your recitation of the ancient calendar, your quiet communion with the spirits of the land. Your physical body may be aging, but your spirit is vibrant, alive with the knowledge that the seeds you have sown, the flame you have guarded, will one day bloom. You are a living legacy, a testament to the enduring power of a vanishing world. And so, in the mists of history, you have lived a life of heavy responsibility, a life shaped by the whispers of the jungle and the cruelty of conquerors. You have been a druid, a guardian of ancient wisdom, a bridge between the world of men and the world of the gods. Anxiety, once a haunting specter, has become a part of your breath, a silent, constant beat in your very soul. You have witnessed devastation, endured isolation, and carried the burden of a culture on the brink. You have learned to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart, to see what others cannot, and to believe in a future that many have abandoned. Your story is not one of great battles or glorious victories recorded in history books. It is a story of quiet resilience, of small but powerful acts performed in the dark, of protecting a fragile flame from a destructive storm. As the moonlight filters through the leaves of ancient oak trees, or as the stars twinkle in the night sky, you still whisper the ancient stories, the prophecies that have shaped your life. You are not a warrior with a sharp sword, but a guardian with a prodigious memory and an indomitable spirit. You are living proof that, even in the darkest of times, knowledge and hope can survive, passed down from generation to generation. Now, as you fall asleep, know that the story of the ancient druids still resonates, a reminder of the power of faith, of the resilience of the human spirit, and of the sometimes brutal responsibilities that history places on the shoulders of its chosen ones. Let the whispers of the jungle lull you into a deep sleep, knowing that these stories will always be there, waiting for you to wake.